Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, presented by Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And you are listening to us on Home of Southern Sports, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key. This is Tuesday, and I'm happy to be here. We've got a lot to cover on the show. I'm going to have Gabe Reynolds on. He is a frequent guest. He is going to be on for the radio only. I'd like to welcome my Facebook and YouTube audience, as this is Monday night, but I am going to air this on WQEE from 2 to 3 on Tuesday, and that's why I said good afternoon. Anyway, it is good evening, but I hope that you can sit back and enjoy the next 20 minutes of talking sports. I just got done watching the Monday Night Football game. What a win by the Dallas Cowboys, 20-17. Micah Parsons with a big sack, Stephon Gilmore with a big interception, and Dak Prescott out-duels Justin Herbert. And the Cowboys are 4-2 going into the bye. See, all is well with the world. Cowboy fans do not need to panic. I mean, they just were overmatched against the 49ers last week, but the Cowboys are still a good team, and they go and get a big road victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers, a talented team, I think that they underachieve. And I think that Brandon Staley is now on the hot seat. It doesn't get any easier for the Chargers because they got to play the Kansas City Chiefs next week. Okay, let's go ahead and get into some more of, I got my notes right here. Let's go ahead and get into some more of the sports. The ALCS and NLCS, also game 1. The ALCS game 2, the Texas Rangers, they get the 2-0 series lead, a 5-4 win, and they win their first 2 against Houston at Houston, and they go back to Arlington up 2-0, trying to reach the World Series for the first time since 2011. And what a job that Bruce Bochy has done in his first year with the Texas Rangers. Remember, the 3-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants came out of retirement. He's now managing the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros with their backs against the wall. What can they do? How are they going to respond against their in-state rival? Game 1 of the NLCS, and you know that I dislike the Phillies. I was heavily rooting for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Phillies do get the 5-3 victory over the Diamondbacks, and they started things off. 3 solo home runs, one by Kyle Schwarber, again by Bryce Harper, and then Nick Castellanos. These guys are on fire. I mean, why are they still pitching to them? Zach Gallen got the start for the Diamondbacks. Zach Wheeler got the start for the Phillies. And the Phillies trying to make back-to-back World Series appearances. The Arizona Diamondbacks trying to make it to the World Series for the first time since 2001. It's been a long time, but the Diamondbacks did have that NLCS appearance back in 2007 when they lost to the Rockies. This is the first postseason loss for the Diamondbacks this postseason, and I expect them to get off the mat and respond and maybe even sneak a win against the Phillies in game 2. So much to cover on this show, including college football. Isn't this nice that we have football pretty much the entire month? But we have 3 exciting matchups today. Middle Tennessee State taking on undefeated Liberty, Western Kentucky taking on Jacksonville State, and then Southern Miss taking on Southern Alabama. We also have the River Dragons roster has been announced. Their first game is going to be Thursday, October the 26th in Baton Rouge, taking on the Baton Rouge Zydeco. Croup watch. Jay Croup has got 98 career goals. I would love to see him get his 100th career goal at the Columbus Civic Center, but we're going to have to wait all the way until November for that, as they will host the Mississippi Seawolves on November 13th. That is their first home game. And As a member of the media, having a podcast, The Sports Beat, for a little over 3 years now, and also working for Georgia Alabama Sports Live, I applied for media credentials with Ignite Sports. Still waiting to hear back. Tom, if you got my email and my phone messages, hit me up so I can get some media credentials. I would love to do a pregame show live at the Columbus Civic Center. I'm going to cover River Dragons on my podcast all season long, hoping to get some River Dragons, Jay Krupp, Alex Storjahan, trying to get some River Dragons on my podcast, and also the head coach, Jerome Boom Boom Burchard. Would like to get some River Dragons as I'm covering them on my podcast all season long. So, Tom, I mean, we have a pretty good working relationship. I would love to hear back from you. I know that I helped out during the baseball season, helping you call games for the Columbus Chattahoochee and the Chattahoochee Monsters. I would like to help out as much as I can with the River Dragons on the side. If anything that you need, I'm available and I'm ready to work as well. I would love to maybe even do something with Georgia Alabama Sports Live, River Dragons related. Okay. Columbus State Soccer. They are taking on Albany State this Wednesday. They currently stand with an 8-3-1 overall record, 5-0-1 in the Peach Belt Conference. Emma Badeau has got 6 goals on the season, as they will take on South Carolina Aiken for a Peach Belt matchup at the Walden Soccer Complex this Saturday. And you want to catch it on the Peach Belt Network. Columbus State trying to make a big push when it comes to Peach Belt Conference play, which will happen that first week in November. Hey, we got some high school softball as Harris County advances to the Super Regional Finals. They win 2 of their region games today. Northside is in the Super Regionals as well. I expect both teams to make the GHSA state playoffs for 5A down at the South Commons Center softball complex down in South Columbus. We do have the 2028 Olympics announcement. They're adding 5 new sports: flag football, softball/baseball, cricket, and lacrosse. I don't know where the other one is, but that should be fun. And then we also have the new AP Top 25 for college basketball is out. And I'm excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and reveal this. There's no surprise that the defending NCAA champion Kansas Jayhawks is the number 1 team. But what's surprising is the Duke Blue Devils. Duke is number 2. As I'm going to go ahead and talk about college basketball. When we talk about college basketball in the month of November, I'm the type of guy that will watch college basketball in November. I love it. I absolutely love college basketball. And, Alabama, they are ranked 24th. Remember, they were an overall number 1 seed. I'm surprised that Gonzaga is ranked number 11. They did lose Drew Timme. They had Chet Holmgren the year before. Zach Edey coming back for Purdue. They are ranked number 3. Michigan State, they always seem to underachieve, and they lose a lot of those big games, but you know that Tom Izzo is going to have them playing hard. Marquette is number 5. UConn, number 6. I mean, why not? I mean, UConn just continues to make a deep run in the tournament. Yeah, UConn won the title. I'm sorry. Kansas did not win the title. I'm used to Kansas won the title the year before. Correct me if I'm wrong. To refresh my memory, Kansas lost in the second round. They were a number 1 seed last year. They won the title the year before, but they ended up losing to Arkansas 72-71 in the second round. It was UConn that won the national title. I'm a broadcaster. Sometimes I make mistakes, but as I try to refresh my memory for college basketball, Kansas is the AP number one, and rightfully so. They were the number one seed in the West. However, they did lose to Arkansas in the second round. The defending champion, UConn Huskies, is number six. Houston Cougars, number seven. Creighton, number eight. Tennessee is number nine. Florida Atlantic, who made it to the Final Four last year, they are number 10. The team that UConn beat in the championship, San Diego State, is number 17. Nothing really shocks me about this AP Top 25, but I am excited that college basketball is just a couple of weeks away. We've got games on Monday, November the 6th. We got some top 25 matchups, and that's going to be a lot of fun. USC taking on Kansas State. We will get to see the debut of Bronny James. USC is actually ranked 21st in the AP Top 25. So I'm excited to see Bronny James, and I'm excited that college basketball is 2 weeks away. Some of the other stuff that I'm touching up on, don't forget that we do have the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show that is going to air tonight at Happy Hour Bar and Grill at 7 p.m. Thrift Behringer and I will be there with many guests in the house, to include WRBL's Jack Patterson and WTVM's Jonathan Hoppy, and also the head football coach of the Glenwood Gators, head coach Ryan Nelson. Come on out to Happy Hour Bar and Grill, enjoy some good food, and you get to see a live sports show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait for that. We have a jam-packed lineup for high school football this week. Starting on Thursday, Otis Spencer Stadium, the Monroe Golden Tornadoes, they will take on the Carver Tigers, and this is for the region. If Carver wins, they are going to clinch the region championship. It'll be their first region title in 3A with this new reclassification. Carver has had a rich tradition and history of making deep runs in the state playoffs, and they have a chance to wrap it up Thursday night. Friday, we have another doubleheader. I love these doubleheaders. I'm going to be at Calvary Christian once again with Justin Brown, the former Calvary Christian baseball player. He called the Calvary Christian Rock Springs Christian Creekside Christian Academy game, the one where Calvary won 61-0. Calvary's actually taken on Rock Springs Christian Academy in Calvary Christian in their stadium. Calvary is 4-4 on the season, trying to get another win in the gaps as they want to position themselves for the playoffs. The other doubleheader on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, Thrift Behringer and Rick Beach will be on the call. It is a massive region game between the Northgate Vikings out of Noonan, Georgia, taking on the Harris County Tigers. And Harris County, 6-1, they are ranked 18th in the recent poll provided by Max Preps. Well, I think it's about that time to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to have Gabe Reynolds here on the show. You don't want to go anywhere. It's the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. I've signed off of the radio only because this is going to re-air on WQEE tomorrow from 2 to 3, and Gabe Reynolds is going to be on as a guest. His interview went about 35 minutes. So the first 15 minutes of the show, you're going to get a portion of that. But I wanted to sign off properly here on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. Yes, I did a show today at 6 o'clock. It was pre-recorded. I was trying to fill it right after Sports Visions and right before the Glenwood Gators show. That was so much fun having the Glenwood Gators show with Coach Ryan Nelson. Wes Hargrove did a great job hosting, as he always does. And I just enjoyed being a part of that Glenwood Gators coaches show at Mike and Ed's Barbecue. I'm really looking forward to Happy Hour Bar and Grill tomorrow for our live show, me and Thrift Behringer. You don't want to miss it. So as I close out this show, this has really been a lot of fun that I've been able to do this for so long. Been doing this, well, for almost 4 years. In January, it will be 4 years that I will have done a podcast. I started January 31st of 2020. And little did I know that this podcast would not only grow, it would be picked up on a radio station. It would have over 730 episodes. And I also would be working for Georgia Alabama Sports live streaming games and having weekly shows that Thrift Behringer and I do at Happy Hour, and then the Glenwood Gators Coaches Show. And I've had experience doing live shows, calling games for the Columbus Rapids and hosting the Off the Walls Coaches Show at not only El Carrizo in the first season, in the second season at Ivy Park Sports and Grill. And I've also hosted a weekly show with the former Columbus Lions head coach Jason Gibson called Roar Time. It aired on Beam. And so I'm comfortable being an in-game host. I love doing it. And I think that I'm really in my comfort zone when I become an in-game host. And so that's what I look forward to every time I have a guest here on my podcast. First of all, let me just come out and say this. If you would like to be a guest on this show, please message me. I would love to fill in the time slot that I have, because I do have a 5-day-a-week show. I want to try to get in some guests in. I try to get a guest on at least once a week, because all the content that I'm doing with Georgia Alabama Sports Live, like High School Game Day, the live show that we do at Happy Hour Bar and Grill, and then on Fridays, I do my high school football preview review show. Yes, I do want to try to fill all that content. Sometimes we go over an hour. And so I like to split that up into 30-minute segments and then do an intro on my show. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I can't have multiple guests on. So if you're interested in being a guest, message me. And to all the guests that I've had on before that haven't been on the show in a while, you are more than welcome to come back on this show and be a guest. I miss you. I enjoy the times that we had talking about sports. I do thank the guests that continue to be loyal and come on all the time. It's been great. But the ones that I haven't seen in a while, just hit me up. I would love to get you on the show because I do miss you. All right, that is all the time I have here on the show. I do want to thank Ryan O'Neill, who is the station manager at WQEE, who believed in me. He took a chance on me. He saw that I was an up-and-coming broadcaster, and he asked me, how would you like to have a radio show on the afternoon drive, Monday through Friday, on this fine radio station? And I said, sure, I would love to. And all I had to do was send him audio files. I don't even have to go into the studio, although I do enjoy going into the studio like I was a couple of weeks ago. I was in the studio for his morning show. I love sports talk radio. I want to get back in a radio station and actually do sports talk radio. I felt a missing void after the pandemic happened and 95.7 ESPN radio completely shut down their radio station, and all they have is just ESPN radio. Yeah, it was a big bummer, but that motivated me just to continue to do my podcast and try to get on the radio as much as I can. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. It is late. It's almost midnight, and I definitely need to get to bed and start fresh tomorrow for a new day, a new chapter here on the Sports Beat. Have a great night, everybody.